championship bound, baby! Woo! Big love, baby! Woo! Here, man. It got a little crazy out there, but we made it through.
We're gonna keep stacking the day, so see you in the championship.
Bow! Let's go!
June 17th wasn't just another game, it was personal. The Indiana Fever came into this rematch with fire in their eyes, still remembering the intense battle on May 30th against the Connecticut Sun, a game that left players like Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson sidelined after some hard hits. Fast forward to round 2. During the heat of play, Caitlin Clark took a tough shot to the face. That moment flipped a switch. What happened next? Sophie Cunningham made a bold statement on behalf of her squad, one that showed the Fever aren't just a team, they're a family. If you're riding with the Fever, drop at CC and Spicy Sophie in the comments. Let's go.
It was chippy the last time these two teams faced off too. Sophie Cunningham suffered her ankle injury in that game, but in addition to that, she actually had part of her front tooth knocked out. She made contact with Jacy Sheldon as Caitlin Clark knocks down the triple.
But what people don't talk about enough is how hard you have to work to be able to be that good. All the hours that she's spent perfecting her craft.
Retreating, firing, and hitting.
So she can do that.
On Indiana arguing the call.
I mean, step back, you're late. She almost looks you in the eye. And
Picture this, May 30th, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun, and everything went wrong for the Fever in the worst possible way. The game started off normal enough, just another matchup between two WNBA teams battling for position, but the Sun brought a level of physicality that felt like it went beyond competitive. You could feel the tension building from the opening tip.
Can we talk about the physicality for a second? 2 players on the Indiana Fever got injured last night by the same player on the Connecticut Sun, and that was Jacy Sheldon. And I tweeted about it. She was playing so reckless. I'm fine with players playing aggressive, but there is a thin line between playing aggressive and playing reckless. When you dive for a ball, you don't land on somebody's leg. She landed on top of Sydney Colson's leg, and her leg got stuck and literally twisted around. Both injuries, both Sydney Colson and Sophie Cunningham, were contact injuries.
Sophie Cunningham went down early after a hard collision, one that looked anything but routine. The contact was intense, raising eyebrows across the court. Then came another blow. Sydney Colson exited the game after a second tough play that had everyone questioning what was really going on. At the center of the action was Jacy Sheldon, playing with a level of physicality that had Fever fans fuming.
They weren't non-contact. They weren't ACLs, they weren't Achilles, they were contact injuries caused by the same player. And this kind of physicality that the WNBA they brag about. They say it's always been a physical league. That's just the heart of the It's not good basketball. And we've seen so many injuries. Paige Becker's out with a concussion. Rakia Jackson was out with a concussion. All of these injuries are contact plays. We've seen Caitlin Clark last year get chucked to the ground. We saw Angel Reese get clothesline chucked to the ground. The players continue to do it because the refs are allowing them. Why wouldn't you keep doing it if you're a physical player?
Here's where the college history comes into play. Jacy Sheldon and Caitlin Clark had been battling since their Iowa versus Ohio State days. Back in college, Sheldon seemed to make it a point to challenge Clark every time they faced off. She played tight defense, fought through screens, and wasn't shy about letting Clark know she was there. This wasn't just basketball anymore, it was personal.
Her mortal enemy took out a player. Jacy Sheldon. Caitlin Clark's mortal enemy. Jacy Sheldon.
It felt like the officials were watching a completely different game. Hard fouls went uncalled, and plays that looked dangerous were simply ignored. Caitlin Clark had to watch her teammates take hits while Jacy Sheldon continued playing without so much as a warning. With every possession, the Fever's frustration grew. They fought hard but ultimately lost the game 85-83. More importantly, they lost 2 key players, Sophie Cunningham and Sydney Colson, to injuries that many felt could have been prevented with tighter officiating. Their absence would be deeply felt in the games that followed.
This is a reckless play. This is reckless. It is dangerous. And this angle makes it look even worse. It is dangerous. Like, Sid Colson is between her and the ball. Sid Colson is in fact between Jacy Sheldon and the ball, and she dives through her knee. It wasn't even called as a foul.
Not even close. The Fever weren't going to forget this game. It wasn't even called a foul. You could see it in Caitlin Clark's eyes after that loss, the way she looked at Jacy Sheldon during the handshake line, the way she answered questions in the post-game interview. This wasn't over. Not even close. The Fever weren't going to forget this game. They'd remember the injuries, remember how it all unfolded, and remember that the officials let it happen. June 17th couldn't come fast enough. When it finally arrived, Clark was back from her quad injury and riding high after a dominant win over the previously undefeated New York Liberty. This was her second game back after 3 weeks off the court, and you could tell she hadn't forgotten. The way she walked onto the floor, the way she glanced at the Sun players during warm-ups, this wasn't just another game.
She just texts me. She never texts me during the game.
All right. Here is Clark splashing home a three from way downtown. Kelly escorting her back to the bench.
Jacy Sheldon is there with her hand in her face.
The game starts with that familiar tension hanging in the air. Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark with relentless pressure, staying close on every possession. She's shadowing Clark, fighting through screens, and playing with the same physical edge fans remember from the previous matchup. It's the kind of aggressive defense that tests limits, and everyone in the arena can feel that something is building.
And Caitlin Clark are talking to the official. They're both going at it saying, hey, oh, there's a little extra right there. Uh-oh. Then Marina steps in to protect JC.
The third quarter hits, and here comes the moment that changes everything. Caitlin Clark is bringing the ball up the court when Jacy Sheldon steps in to defend. She reaches in for what appears to be a steal attempt, but her finger makes contact with Clark's eye. The impact is immediate and clearly visible. Clark's head snaps back from the contact, and the crowd reacts instantly.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and Jacy Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Clark immediately grabs her face, the pain and frustration written all over her. She's squinting, trying to regain her vision, but you can tell her mind is racing. It's not just about the physical pain. This moment echoes everything that came before. The same defender involved in previous physical plays was now part of this one. Clark reacts like anyone would after getting poked in the eye. She pushes Sheldon away, a natural, instinctive response. The crowd erupts, having seen it all unfold, but somehow, the referees are about to make things even worse.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabrey. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
Clark is standing there, holding her eye, clearly shaken by a hard and unexpected play, while the officials reach for their whistles. The arena buzzes with confusion and frustration. Fans point toward the replay boards showing the eye contact that started it all, but the officials make their decision, a technical foul on Clark for pushing back. A technical, for reacting after taking a finger to the eye. The call stuns the crowd. Clark had just dropped 32 points in her first game back from injury, and now she's being penalized for an instinctive reaction to contact. The decision felt off to many watching, sending a troubling message that a player can be on the receiving end of rough physical play, but if they respond, they risk being the one punished. But this incident wasn't the end, it was just the spark. Marina Mabrey had been watching it all unfold, and she was about to escalate things to a whole new level.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. Jacy Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabrey, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
Right after Clark receives the unexpected technical foul, Marina Mabrey decides to take matters into her own hands, just not in the way anyone hoped. While Clark is still recovering from the eye contact, Mabrey approaches and delivers a move that stuns the entire arena. In a game already overflowing with tension, this moment pushes things to a boiling point.
That's what Clark didn't like. And then Mabrey came in with a bump.
And Mabrey's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But both teams.
This wasn't ordinary basketball contact, it looked more like a collision you'd expect in hockey. Marina Mabrey bodychecked Clark with enough force to send her crashing backward onto the court. The hit was jarring, and even casual fans could see it was excessive and unnecessary. Clark hit the floor hard, visibly shaken, her expression saying it all, another moment of physical intensity from a Connecticut Sun player that raised serious questions about how far this matchup was going to go.
And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, Jacy Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
The entire Fever bench erupts, having just watched their star player take a hard, uncalled hit right in front of the referees. Players point toward Marina Mabrey, shouting to get the officials' attention, desperate for someone in stripes to step in. The crowd is in disbelief, roaring in frustration as they watch the scene unfold on their home court. Coach Stephanie White is beside herself on the sideline, yelling at the officials and gesturing emphatically, pointing toward Mabrey. She's trying to make it clear, this has gone beyond physical basketball. In her eyes, her player had just been put in danger again, and once more, it looked like the officials might miss a crucial call.
Now after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the three referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
The officials respond by giving Mabrey a common technical foul, the same penalty Clark received earlier for pushing back after being poked in the eye. Let that sink in. Clark reacts to unexpected contact and gets hit with a tech, and Mabrey sends her to the floor with a body check, same penalty. The comparison didn't sit right with anyone watching. The crowd, players, and coaches were all left asking the same question, how does that add up?
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on Jacy Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called. Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And Jacy Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
Coach Stephanie White doesn't hold back in the post-game press conference. She voices what so many had been feeling. When officials lose control of the game, when they allow overly physical play to go unchecked, moments like this are bound to happen. Her frustration is clear. She's had enough of watching her players take hard hits while the officiating crew seems slow to respond.
When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competition. So I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better.
By now, the message was clear. If the officials weren't going to protect Caitlin Clark, her teammates were ready to step up. Sophie Cunningham had been watching it all unfold from the bench, and she wasn't about to stay silent. In the final minute of the game, with the Fever holding a dominant 87-70 lead, she saw Jacy Sheldon with the ball one last time. The clock was winding down, but Cunningham wasn't focused on the score anymore. Her mind flashed back to May 30th, when she left the court injured. She remembered Clark getting poked in the eye with no real consequences. She remembered Marina Mabrey sending Clark to the ground. And in that moment, Sophie decided it was time to send a message of her own.
So now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. At the end of the game, Jacy Sheldon is going for a fast break layup and Sophie Cunningham is running with her. And I remember in my head, like, it happened in a split second and I said, oh, let's see. Let's see what happens here.
Cunningham remembers everything. The pain from that brutal game in May, sitting on the bench injured while Jacy Sheldon kept playing like nothing had happened. She remembers the frustration of watching officials let physical plays go unchecked as her teammates took the hits. Now, with Sheldon driving to the basket in the final seconds, Cunningham sees her chance, a moment to stand her ground and make it clear that the Fever won't be pushed around anymore.